What's up guys, this is Dark Magician here and welcome to another KOF video. Okay, so today's video will be a character introduction for kind of the last API 14 to come for a while, which is Vanessa. Now I need to mention that Vanessa is not the next one to come in global, okay, but this is just a special request. Some might be interested to know more about her, so that's why I'm gonna do it early, and let's go. Now I need to mention that Vanessa is the last API 14 to appear for a long time. We still don't know and see whether there might be some fighters like Clone Zero or Lin that appeared as API 14 in other versions, but yet haven't made an appearance in C. Okay, so until then we still don't know much if there will be more API 14s or not, but apparently there will. Okay, now starting with Vanessa. Vanessa is a boss, an API 14 DPS. Okay, now her stats show that she has a good crit rate and a very high crit power, like 51%, which is very high. Other stats are quite okay, normal, damage and resistance and everything else. So she pretty much does a lot of damage when she crits, not because her crit rate itself is so high, but the crit power is kind of one of the highest ones in the game. Okay, now her features has beautiful boxing female and crit combo, again because she can crit a lot, okay, and she can give crit to other fighters, which we'll see later on. Okay, now let's start with her fates. Once enemy, we need Vanessa, Zero, Chrysalid, and Ignis, attack plus 25%. Old comrade, own Vanessa, K-Dash, and Maxima and Whip, attack plus 25%. Boxer, we need Vanessa, Heavy D, and Joe, HP increases by 25%. Now her weapon, Sexy Boxer, we need Butterfly Dance Gloves, and she uses Beauty Badge and Thai Boxing Tone. Now her soul is a very unique one. She's a Viper Soul, attack, recover, rage by 40, which is a characteristic of Adder Souls, and 1/4 of that, or 1/4 of that, recovers for every attack received, which is a Tortoise Soul. So she's kind of a Snake Soul and Tortoise Soul at the same time, but also she will be, or she is, a Wild Bear Soul at the same time because of her passive. Now it's not included in her Fight Soul, but she can make an ultimate on round 1, which is a characteristic for Wild Bear Soul. So she kind of has like 3 souls in one. Okay, now let's start with that passive, Butterfly Dance. Upon round 1, full rage. Okay, so that's why she can be considered as a wild bear. Full rage and 100% chance to trigger small skill. So at turn 1 she will have 4 full rage, and she will trigger the skill for sure. The less the HP, the higher the chance to trigger small skill. Okay, so as her HP goes down, she will be triggering her small skill more often. Okay, increase own male fighter attack. Okay, so she increases the attack for male fighters. Now it's in numbers, but after her second gate it will be in percentage, which is a very good feature. And 5% small skill rate. Okay, now let's go to her minor skill, Dash Puncher. Ignores enemy block, deal combo, dealing massive damage on single enemy. So she targets one enemy, okay, adding a Vanessa mark. Now what is the Vanessa mark? Now when she targets one enemy using her skill, let's start with her skill now, also her ultimate as well, but she will apply a Vanessa mark, which is a number like surrounded with red color, that will have a specific feature. Okay, the less own HP left, the higher the damage. Okay, so when she have low HP, she will deal more damage with that skill. When attack target has already has the Vanessa mark, increase 60% damage and recover 200 rage. So if she targets an enemy with her skill that already has the Vanessa mark before, she will deal additional 60% damage and she will recover 200 rage for herself. We need to mention that Vanessa mark can be stackable for up to 3 times, kind of like melee. Okay, so she can put the Vanessa mark 3 times on an enemy. Okay, now moving to her second passive we forgot to mention, which is Super Attack Enhancement. She increases her own attack starting 7%. Now her ultimate, Machine Gun Puncher, Wave Champion Puncher, attack single enemy. Again, she also targets single enemy, dealing damage and splashing Vanessa mark upon nearby enemies. So what she does is that she targets one enemy and she gives the Vanessa mark to the surrounding opponents. Okay, like a splash damage, but she gives them Vanessa mark instead. Okay, increase all back rows 20% crit rate. So she increases 20% crit rate for the back row, and the ultimate will detonate the Vanessa mark and increase damage. So let's say the opponent already have the Vanessa mark. She will take away that Vanessa mark and she will deal more damage according to how many marks are there. For example, if one mark was already on the target, she will deal additional 10% damage. Okay, if there were 2 marks, she will increase 20% damage, and 3 marks will increase 30% damage, because you know the maximum is 3 marks after all. When dealing an ultimate, increase 10% HP drain for 2 rounds. So in addition to that, she will increase her own HP drain by 10% for 2 rounds, and each time a Vanessa mark is detonated, the HP drain increase by 5%. So if the opponent has 3 marks or 3 Vanessa marks and she targeted this opponent with her ultimate, she will gain additional 25% HP drain, because she will gain additional 10% for doing the ultimate already, and 5% for each mark on the enemy, which can be up to 3 marks on that enemy. Okay, so when the enemy bear Vanessa marks, attack first the fighter with more Vanessa marks by default. So that she doesn't target the opponents randomly. Okay, the ones that have the highest number of Vanessa marks will be targeted first, kind of like melee after she turns to hero mode, where she will target the ones that has the highest number of flags. Okay, so pretty similar to melee in that way. Okay, so that was pretty much the skills for Vanessa. Now we're gonna go to the UG KOF'98 app to talk about the game and about the gates, and then get back to the game to talk about the more advanced stuff.
Okay guys, so we're here at the UG KOF'98 app to talk about gates for Vanessa. Okay, so we're gonna start with the awakened weapon first. Okay, let me turn off the skills. Okay, so awakened weapon, what does it do? Basically, as we said, that her ultimate will increase back rows 20% crit and own. Okay, after that she will increase her own 40% crit. Okay, what else? So we said also that the Vanessa mark will increase when she detonates the Vanessa mark. She will increase 10% damage for each mark available on the enemy. Okay, now this value will increase a bit so that it becomes for 1 mark it will increase 15% damage, for 2 marks 30% damage, and 3 marks will increase 50% damage. Okay, also when dealing the ultimate, increase 10% HP drain for 2 rounds. This is still the same. And okay, so this is basically only the damage part and the crit part that will increase upon awakening the weapon. Okay, now let's start with her passive. Okay, butterfly dance. Add to all the previous stuff that since round 2, each enemy with Vanessa mark will increase Vanessa's 5% attack and defense each round. Okay, so according to the number, okay, of course starting with round 2, each enemy with the Vanessa mark will increase 5% attack and defense. So if all 6, for example, have the Vanessa mark, it will increase 30% attack and defense each round. But okay, this is quite hard to achieve because she detonates the mark, so it's hard for all opponents to have the marks. Also add to that, since round 2, increase Vanessa's 5% ultimate damage and resistance for every enemy killed each round. That's a very good part of the passive, because upon advancing more through the battle and when more opponents are killed, this will give Vanessa more damage and more resistance, so she can be more persistent during the battle. Okay, 5% for every enemy killed each round, so that's a very good passive. Okay, now let's move to the minor skill, Dash Puncher. Now it was before the less own HP left, the higher the damage. It changes to become the less enemy HP left, the higher the damage. So it depends more on the enemy's HP. When they have less HP left, she will deal more damage instead. Okay, add to all the previous skill that she reduces target's 100 rage, which is very good. Okay, upon her skill she reduces 100 rage, and of course Vanessa mark can be stackable up to 3 times, same thing. Now here, if the target is female, it will reduce target's 80% rage recovery speed for 1 round and 40% healing rate for 2 rounds. Okay, now opposite case if it was a male. If it was a male, it will reduce 80% healing rate for 2 rounds and 40% rage recovery speed for 1 round. So basically 2 debuffs for depending on if the opponent is male or female, which is also a good addition. Also, when skill release triggers crit, recovery own HP or recovers own 7% HP. When this skill crits, she will recover own 7% HP to herself. Okay. Now her smacks, machine gun puncher. Of course, adding to she increases back row as we said 20%. She will also increase 40% crit rate. I think this is conferred by the weapon. When the ultimate detonates Vanessa mark, this will increase again 15% damage for 1 mark, 2 marks 30%, 3 marks 50% damage. Those are also conferred by the weapon. HP drain thing is still the same. Okay, also each time Vanessa mark is detonated, HP drain increases by 7%. Okay, so this is an addition, I guess. And last hit hard puncher has 30% chance to stun. So okay, this is the real addition for the smacks. She has a 30% chance to stun target for 1 round, and also 20% stun increase for each Vanessa mark the target bears. Okay, so she will most likely stun a lot because let's say the opponent has only 1 mark, she will have like 50% chance to stun the target, which is a very high number. Okay. When the target has 3 marks, 100% chance to be stunned, okay, and cause splashing upon nearby enemies with 20% chance to cause dizziness. Okay, I guess dizziness also means stun, so there will be like additional 20% chance to cause a stun for the nearby allies when she hits a target. Okay, now also ultimate detonates, killing intended marks. I think this okay, everything else is still the same except for the last part. When the skill release triggers a crit, recover on 10% HP. So when this ultimate crits, she will recover on 10% HP for herself. Okay, so it's kind of like also similar to her minor skill. Okay guys, so that's pretty much Vanessa's gaze. Very good addition for her, by the way. Now we're gonna get back to the game to talk about her placement in the team and some info about her runes and stuff like that.
Okay guys, so now we've talked about everything. Let's go back and give more tips about Vanessa. Like, where does Vanessa fit in what teams? Okay, now from what we've seen, Vanessa kind of works like solo. Okay, she can be in many teams. Okay, to start with, for example, because of her passive, she can increase male fighters by as we said a number, but later it will become a percentage. So that's why it might be a good idea to use her along with 5 males because of that passive. But that's not everything. Okay, now pretty much because of her soul, because as we mentioned, she's an adder soul, a tortoise soul, and a wild bird soul at the same time. So she can pretty much work in a wild bird soul because she can ultimate at round 1, and snake souls in specific because there aren't much snakes to use. Okay, because some snakes like Psyche appear late in the game, so pretty much people will need a filler snake to do a genesis, a snake genesis. So usually people refer to EG, put him as like the 6th member just to complete the genesis. Now Vanessa can be a great addition to that team, especially if you're now using the karate bros in that snake genesis, because you're gonna need a good third snake, and she can perform good there. Okay, so as we said, wild bird genesis, snake genesis, you can use her in female teams and she will be really good there. Now okay, this part of the passive will be gone, but that's not a big idea because Vanessa can be used in 2 ways. You can use her to buff allies, like buffing the males to be specific, or you can use her in female teams to get buffed by herself. Okay, like she can get her buffed by Shermie or Athena. Her resistance, you know, she will persist for the first 2 rounds at least because of Athena's passive, and she will gain this nice attack buff. Okay, so that's why it's never a bad idea to put her in female teams. I actually like her more in female teams because those teams kind of miss like a lot of female DPS fighters. There aren't much, like say Geniko, so she can be good there. Okay, especially that she will also give crit to the allies and all those stuff, and again because she works solo kind of like melee with all those Vanessa marks and stuff, she can keep healing herself back and she will keep increasing her own damage. So pretty much you can use her in a lot of teams. Now front or back, you can use her at the front to buff the back row's crit, but pretty much I would like to see her more in the back row, because you need to keep her alive as much as you can, especially because, like we've seen in the gates, she will gain additional stuff with more allies dying, and especially after round 2. So that's why having her at the back row is safer if you really like to keep her alive as much as you can. Okay, so that's pretty much what you can do for her. She can fit really. She's a really good fighter. She can fit in a lot of teams. Now, last thing I want to talk about is runes. Now, it depends basically if you're gonna use her at the front row or back row. Still, in my opinion, I think you need to buff her crit as much as you can, because crit or crit power is her major feature, and especially crit because you've seen she will deal more damage and she will heal herself back and all. Okay, so pretty much, and because she can ultimate at round 1, you can give her a set of killing soul. Okay, 6 killing soul runes would be great for her, because 1, she increases her own crit and pierce, and second, she will deal more damage if the opponent that Vanessa hits is affected by a crit. Okay, so that's pretty much why killing soul is a good, like this one I've given for melee. Basically the same stat, you can give 6 killing souls for her, it would be perfect. Okay guys, so that's pretty much everything about Vanessa. Good luck to my club mates who want to get her, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.